Krystal, what are you taking a look at?
This morning, I have an absolutely made-in-a-lab perfect story to share with you. It's a tale of money, culture war, and extreme political brain rot. So let's just jump right in, shall we? This is from the Wall Street Journal. Here's their headline: How a New Anti-Woke Bank Stumbled. Glorify CEO Toby Neugebauer won over A-list investors to build a bank for people who consider Wall Street too liberal. Within months, it was nearly bankrupt. So here's what happened. Apparently, a group of right-wing billionaires gave money to this Toby fellow to start a bank designed to own the libs. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, but that was literally the idea. Neugebauer himself, he's a private equity rich guy who plowed in $10 million of his own money. He joined up with former Mike Pence chief of staff, Nick Ayers, to launch this whole venture. And they were able to raise big money from some really big Republican heavy hitters. Peter Thiel, Ken Griffin were among the wealthy backers who ponied up cash, along with former Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler, Palantir co-founder Joe Lonsdale, and a lot more. Per the Journal, quote, the startup, called Glorify, initially aimed to launch with bank accounts, credit cards, mortgages, and insurance, while touting what it called pro-America values such as capitalism, family, law enforcement, and the freedom to celebrate your love of God and country. Glorify said its customers can earn rewards that they will soon be able to donate to a charity for veterans and first responders. A homeowner's insurance policy that gives discounts to gun owners was in the planning stages, the company said. Its website, adorned with flags, blue-collar workers, and families, urges customers to, quote, put your money where your values are. They introduced credit cards with pro-police and pro-constitution designs. They hired right-wing influencer Candace Owens to shill for this whole effort. They planned an ad campaign for Fox News and MAGA internet influencers, including a video featuring Ronald Reagan giving a speech. And they had a big public debut at CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. Literally the day before this Wall Street Journal article dropped, detailing how the company is now near bankruptcy and in a total state of collapse, Candace Owens tweeted this, quote, we are at the beginning of the conservative economy. You guys will all be hearing about Glorify soon. It will overtake Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, and PayPal very quickly. Please remember, you heard it about it on my Twitter first. And she tweeted this marketing video.
We didn't start the movement. You did. 100 million of you. Tired of the corporate elite telling you how to think? Woke companies denigrating this great country? Tired of big government, fake news, and everything that challenges your freedom? We don't think it's too much to ask to enjoy the benefits of big tech while being free to celebrate your love of God and country. That's why at Glorify, we're building the marketplace for the movement so that you can put your money where your values are. Preserving America for our kids, for our grandkids. One nation under God, Glorify is pro-family, pro-freedom, pro-capitalism, and unapologetically pro-America. Backing those that stand on the thin blue line, celebrating the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, all the amendments.
All the amendments. As one Twitter user responded, finally, a financialized debt creation company that is pro-capitalism. Now, the best thing you can say about this whole venture is that it collapsed quickly before harming many regular people. In less than a year, they've blown through their cash, had mass layoffs, missed launch dates, failed to pay vendor invoices, and by all appearances, are very close to bankruptcy. The article details failed efforts, like an aborted attempt to make a credit card out of the same material as shell casings. Turned out that material was too thick to fit in an ATM machine and interfered with the security chips anyway. That gun owner's discount plan couldn't launch because the company did not have the cash to back up insurance claims, and their original big investors were not interested in investing anymore in what increasingly looked like a failed venture. Glorify also wanted to offer insurance coverage to cover legal costs for customers who shoot someone in self-defense, but according to the company, the tech to launch that product just wasn't working. Now, the private equity guy who launched this whole thing insisted on housing the whole venture in his own home, which was a problem because it lacked the necessary security to handle customer-sensitive financial data. And the Journal paints a portrait of an erratic founder who drinks heavily and constantly and verbally abuses staff and partners on a regular basis. Well, he might be a drunken, abusive asshole, but at least he's not woke. Am I right? Now, the whole thing is literally the right-wing version of what Jamie Dimon was doing here in this photograph where he kneeled in support of Black Lives Matter in front of a bank vault. Take all the horrors and immorality of Wall Street, alter it not one single bit, but give an ideological brand sheen that you hope will snooker customers into thinking you really have their interests at heart. The shell casings, credit card, and sloganeering about faith and family, it's all just right-wing virtue signaling. It's their version of identity politics. It's the exact same vibes as when Wells Fargo sponsored a Black Lives Matter panel with D. Ray McKesson, or when Amazon put a Black Lives Matter banner up on their homepage while forcing their actual Black and brown workforce into indignity and injury on a daily basis. It makes perfect sense that Glorify would hire a right-wing influencer like Candace Owens to persuade their hoped-for customer base that this new bank was really one of them, was really on their side. When you believe, as liberals and the right does, that societies are driven by individuals, not by big structures and systems, it becomes easy to imagine just swapping the right people into positions of power is going to fix all your problems. Remember when Hillary Clinton famously said that if we broke up the big banks, it wouldn't end sexism and racism? In the neoliberal view of the world, which is shared by elite Republicans and elite Democrats, it's the people themselves who are the issue. It's all those white men who need to do better. We don't need unions or to break up the banks. We just need a diversity board and sensitivity training. Or for the right, it's all those woke college grads who are screwing everything up. We need anti-woke patriots who will own the libs and say that a woman is a woman. That's why when Marco Rubio actually came out in limited support of the Amazon union drive in Bessemer, Alabama, he didn't make it about unions or corporate power at all. He personalized it to Amazon and the woke HR department that he didn't like, making it clear that the problem was not the disparity between worker and corporate power, just a particular beef with the ideological leanings of some particular executives at Amazon. That view, which focuses on the individual rather than the systems, makes it easy for you to get tricked by identity politics or culture war or virtue signal plays like this bank. It keeps you at the surface level, looking for good and evil people, rather than going deeper to understand the underlying rot that is leading to the terrible outcomes we're experiencing in America today. Imagine thinking that the real problem with Wall Street is some bullshit cultural posturing from the executive class about the environment or about diversity, and not the way that the whole thing is just a machine for funneling money to the top while immiserating the masses. Imagine thinking it's the Wall Street commercials featuring like biracial families that are the real issue here, and not the fact that they perpetrated a mass fraud on the entire world that nearly collapsed the entire global economy. Glorify is the perfect reflection of a Trump administration which inveighed against global elites and then gave said global elites a massive tax cut, all while covering it up with nonsense executive orders about patriotic education. The ideal grift for a movement that now pretends to have a critique of elite power centers, whether it's Wall Street or corporate America, but has an economic policy that is still devoted to being capital's bootlickers forever. The story of this bank was so perfect to me. Just put the whole... Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.